Hi everybody, and welcome to Encounter Academy, presented by Game On. I am Justin, your Encounter Professor. Are you a veteran gamer who has seen it all, or has seen so much that you're having a hard time thinking of something new? Are you a brand new GM who is looking for something a little bit different than what just the core rulebook or the Dungeon Master Guide is telling you? Well, you've come to the right video. This series is designed to help both veteran game masters and new game masters, not only in Dungeons & Dragons, but multiple other game systems, create an exciting and unique gaming encounter for their players. So I'm part of the Tabletop Dungeoneer Discord server, where Brutus, one of the server users, was asking about making an encounter. He understood what an encounter could be and what it was supposed to be rules as written, but he wanted to see one. He is a new game master for 5th edition, and he asked if anybody could create a video. Not only that, but he asked if we could create a video using specifically a Yeti. Well, Miller's Marvelous Miniverse, who's also part of the Tabletop Dungeoneers, as well as me, Justin from Game On, decided to take Brutus up on that offer, and we're both making videos on the same day about a Yeti encounter. So that, our very first encounter video for Encounter Academy, is going to be a viewer request for a Yeti. Don't forget to go check out Miller's Marvelous Miniverse, because he will be linked in the pinned comment. He is doing a video on the Yeti as well, so if you want to see his take on it, go watch him. Now let's get talking about the Yeti. Yetis are known for living in snow-capped peaks and wind-swept icy canyons. They are very territorial, and they can smell fresh, alive meat from very far away. They are not something that you want to tangle with if you are not prepared for. Hence why so many people who go around Yeti's territory travel in packs and well armed. So let's take a look at what the traditional Yeti stat block looks like in the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition Monster Manual. Okay, so as you can see here by the vanilla stat block in the Monster Manual, a Yeti is a CR3 with 51 hit points and an AC of 12. They have dumpy intelligence and charisma, but they have decent body stats, strength being the highest, as well as a good wisdom, because they have a decent perception as well as advantage on smell perceptions, because they have keen smell. Not only that, they have a +3 to stealth, but in the snow, they have advantage because they live and hunt in the snow. Speaking of hunting, a Yeti does 1d6 damage, and it does 1d6 cold damage on top of that, as well as its chilling gaze that can paralyze a creature so it can swoop in and attack even harder, makes them paralyzed and does cold damage. Not something you want to do. But the Yeti does have a trick. Yetis might seem scary to a lower level party, but as soon as they figure out that they don't do well at all with fire, you can pretty much take them out quite quickly because they have disadvantage on attacks and on saving throws and, all that. So, we are going to build an encounter in the voiceover using a Yeti, and then on top of that, we're going to homebrew the Yeti, make him a little bit tougher, but we're not going to use the Abominable Yeti. We're just going to take the standard Yeti and beef him up. So I'll see you guys over in the voiceover. Okay, so I'll be using Astral VTT to demonstrate the two different encounters. It is a completely free, browser-based online virtual tabletop. A link to it will be in the description. So here's the lay of the land. We have 4 level 3 characters who were asked by the court of the Northern Kingdom to go past Wind Howl Pass and collect a very special kind of tree because it is Yuletide in the North Kingdom, and they need this special tree to burn for the Yuletide festival that is tomorrow. They have been told that they will have to be going through a whole bunch of snowy, blizzardy conditions, and the players built specific characters to do this. They have themselves a ranger, who actually has a favorite terrain of Arctic. We have a fighter, we have a cleric, and we have a druid. Okay, so to continue our lay of the land, we have this rocky protrusion that comes out that is 20 feet high, and we have basically a staircase, but I'm using a ladder to represent it. Now everything in here is considered difficult terrain because it is icy, it is windy, and it is covered in snow. It's really hard to see, but since we have a ranger whose preferred terrain is Arctic, the party isn't going to have to worry about it. However, the Yeti, for some reason, doesn't have some sort of sure footing or anything that allows it to move in its natural habitat at full speed. Judging by the vanilla stat block, this is difficult terrain. They have nothing that lets them do that. This Yeti is basically going to try to get up in their face and not move a whole lot because he won't be able to move a whole lot. He does have a 40-foot move speed and a 40-foot climb speed. I'm not going to show you all of the rolls. I'm not going to show you all of that. I'm just going to show you how this can play out and how you can, as the GM, use the Yeti here. So let's get started. Okay, so the party has decided that they have to go up and over this rocky outcropping, so they've lined up to get ready to go up. Now, the Yeti has already made his stealth check with advantage, hiding kind of behind this partially snow-covered and rotting tree, and also in a snowbank. None of the players could really see up that high from where he is, so he's technically hidden from all of these guys. Okay, so the players have surmised that they can't go down the exact opposite of how they came up because of how icy and how windy it is, but they've decided, the druid came up with the idea of using this log to climb and shimmy themselves down. Now, the Yeti isn't the smartest, but the Yeti does know what he's doing. So the players are going to move up and start to shimmy down because they have made their perception checks. None of them are able to see this Yeti who is basically buried in a snowdrift behind a log. He is, all intents and purposes, hidden from them. Okay, so to avoid the entire combat, I'm just going to tell you what the Yeti would most likely do. The Yeti would most likely move up as close as he can. He's got 40 feet of movement, so 20 in here. He only had to move from here to here. The Yeti is going to probably attack the weakest looking character, which would be the druid, to him. And then, after that, he would probably realize that he was fighting things that want to fight back. And then, the next turn, the Yeti is probably going to realize that is getting fought by something with pokey, owie sticks, and it's not going to get a free meal. So the Yeti is probably going to use his icy gaze and try to paralyze the thing that did the most damage to him, any of these four. If the Yeti has fire damage given to him, he does have aversion to fire. He'll probably stick around for 1 or 2 rounds, probably 1 at most, I would say, and then he would eventually run. That's right, not every creature in D&D has to fight to the death. They do have some sort of self-preservation within them. So the Yeti won't have done too much damage to them, and the Yeti is on his final round. Probably the second round after he has caught on fire is going to book it out of there. Everyone's going to get their attacks of opportunity. He's only got an AC of, 12? So they're probably all going to hit him, and the Yeti might die from those attacks of opportunity, or the Yeti might live to fight and eat another day, but that Yeti is considered defeated. Okay, so according to the CR system, that level 3 encounter with those 4 level 3 PCs would have been considered a medium difficulty encounter. They basically got the Yeti to run away within a couple of rounds. This is the new Yeti, the Yeti 2.0 I like to call it. We are still going to call it a challenge rating 3 for the monster. However, with a couple of the tweaks that we made, you'll see that the challenge rating is going to go up, and this will be a lot harder for the party. I gave him a climb speed of 50, so just 10 more. I also gave him sure-footed, so that he can move in the snow and ice without taking half movement. It's not dangerous terrain for him. I also gave him snow camouflage, which means instead of just a straight +3 plus the advantage in stealth with snow, I gave him a flat +10 to stealth checks in the snow. It's very, very nice. I also gave him a bonus action where he can make a stealth check, because I am leaning into the fact that the Yeti is more of a stealth ambush fighter who likes to hide and come out and try to grab you. Okay, so we're going to use the same characters, however, they're all going to be level 4 now. So this should technically be a slightly easier according to the CR, even though I did bump up a couple of the Yeti stats, but you're going to see that the environment is going to play a bigger role. The environment is much more windy and yuckier out there with more snow, and I'm giving all of the players a disadvantaged perception check when it comes to sight and to sound because of how howling it is. So the fighter decides that he wants to go up first because he's the fighter, and everybody kind of climbs up after him. However, as soon as the fighter gets up there, the Yeti gets to make his attack. The Yeti is going to make his claw attack first, so it's basically a surprise round. He's going to get himself advantage as well because he's literally attacking out of stealth. There's no way any of these people would have seen him with plus 10, plus 20 feet high. So because I'm a nice DM, I'm going to let everybody let themselves take a move action. Now we've rolled initiative. The Yeti isn't going first. So the fighter's actually going first. He's going to take a swing at the Yeti, do some pretty nasty damage to the Yeti. Yeti does not like that. And the ranger is also going to hit. The Yeti has decided that he doesn't give a crap about attacks of opportunity. So he's going to move, and the fighter is going to take a swing. The fighter will hit him. We'll say that the fighter will hit the Yeti. But the Yeti has 2 attacks. Yeti doesn't want to try to kill the ranger with his claws. No, no, no. The Yeti's going to use the least amount of energy to get the most amount of calories. He's going to push the ranger off the cliff. That is what the Yeti does. So he's going to make his shove attack. He gets 2 attacks. He misses the first one. Well, he doesn't miss. The ranger passes the first one, but his second one pushes the ranger off. And the ranger does take a couple points of damage from that and is prone. So the Yeti is actually going to continue on with the rest of his movement and make a stealth check. They have no idea where he went. So the Druid's like, what the heck is going on here? And we go to the top of the next round, where the fighter is kind of throwing javelins at where he thinks it would be. The cleric doesn't know what happened to the ranger, the Yeti, who will then shove the cleric, who had no idea that the Yeti came behind him, and push them down to the ground. The Yeti will continue to use hit-and-run tactics until he is eventually defeated, depleting much more resources than intended by the PCs. Wow, okay, so just tweaking the monster a little bit as well as adding different elements from the environment, you take what seems like a regular run-of-the-mill battle to something that you'll remember for days, even weeks. Thank you so much, Brutus, for suggesting this. Miller's Marvelous Miniverse, he will be linked in the description. His video will also be about the Yeti, so thank you very much. Thank you so much for watching the very first episode of Encounter Academy presented by Game On with your Professor Encounter, Justin. Stay tuned next week because St. Mary's Hospital in Arkham, Massachusetts reports that someone or something is stealing the bodies out of the morgue in the basement. And they want to know what's going on, and I'm sure you do too. Thank you guys very much for watching. Stay safe and game on.